The history you crammed for the pop quiz wasn't written to inform you, it was written to justify the biggest land grab in history. Today we're swapping the bedtime story for the receipts, numbers, voices, and facts they hoped you'd never search. Stick around and you'll know exactly who whipped up the myths, why they still taste so good, and how native creators are roasting them on TikTok one reel at a time. Columbus didn't discover America. He tripped over a continent that had more people than Europe at the time, yet your textbook still calls it an untamed wilderness. Why? Because the truth would torch the whole fairy tale. North America was a sparsely populated wilderness. Nope. Estimates now peg the 1491 population of the Americas at 60 million more than Britain, France, and Spain combined. The Mississippi Valley alone cradled Cahokia, a city bigger than London, sporting satellite towns, trade highways, and 120 earthen mounds you can still climb between Cubs games. So how did millions vanish? Into empty. Smallpox beat the Pilgrims to shore, erasing up to 90% of the people. When English boots finally arrived, they wandered through ghost towns and called it Providence instead of a graveyard. Next lie, just a bunch of simple nomads. Archaeologists spit take at that one. The Haudenosaunee were running the world's oldest participatory democracy while Europe was still chopping off royal heads. Their three sisters gilled corn, beans, squash out-produced European wheat for centuries. Hop in a car in Arizona today and you'll see Tohono O'odham farmers harvesting salt-tolerant tepary beans their ancestors bred to laugh at drought. Primitive is just code for doesn't look like ours. The quietest, heaviest lie, terra nullius nobodies. Land. Early Supreme Court gems like Johnson v. Intosh said tribes only held the right of occupancy, not actual ownership. Translation: you can camp here till we want it. The Indian Removal Act weaponized that idea, marching 60,000 Cherokee, Muskogee, Seminole, Chickasaw, and Choctaw West at bayonet point. Thousands died on the Trail of Tears so cotton kings could plant cash crops on stolen ground. Legal scholars call it ethnic cleansing with a notary stamp. Next fib. Assimilation lifted native kids out of poverty. Between 1860 and 1978, the US and Canada kidnapped children into boarding schools where scissors met hair, languages got prison time, and kids landed in unmarked graves. Official policy, ink, still wet. The mission wasn't opportunity. It was erasure. Survivors tell of beatings for saying, instead of hello. The schools worked so well that today more Americans can rattle off 5 corn chip brands than 5 tribal nations that never left. Who profits from amnesia? Railroads, miners, oil rigs, and vote-hungry politicians who needed the public to believe the land was destined manifest destiny for them. Chant virgin wilderness and vanishing Indian long enough and colonizers morph into heroes while victims shrink to footnotes. Textbook writers photocopied the myth for so many cycles that even well-meaning teachers preach propaganda they swear is gospel. But here's the part school forgot to print: we're still here, over 500. Federally recognized tribes operate right now. Running billion-dollar casinos, sure, but also banks, solar grids, language revitalization apps, and medical schools. Lakota-owned crypto outfit just bankrolled a wind farm on Pine Ridge. Natives are the fastest growing minority in the US today. Projections top 10 million by 2060. Every powwow video you scroll past on Instagram is a living, shimmying rebuttal to the vanished people trope. The myth of the first Americans as wandering relics greased the skids for history's biggest heist, but numbers, mounds, constitutions, and TikTok don't keep quiet. When someone shrugs, history's just the past, remind them the past sets the interest rate on every injustice still cashed today. Tell them Cahokia had rush hour traffic. Tell them cornfields once stretched where strip malls now blink. And if they ask why they never heard it, smile and say, because they lied. If these numbers just flipped your mental map upside down, hit subscribe. More buried history drops every week. Smash share if you think classrooms should swap fairy tales for footnotes. The algorithm could use some truth juice.